Nation of Fitin10, welcome to day 62, and if you don't already know, the Calendly link is up for your final scan, so you can book your last scan here. Of course, we've got 8 days to go, and as I've been saying the last number of days, every day counts, so keep it up and do your very best, and let's see where you land. Reminder, when you come in for your scan, no caffeine before your scan, no caffeine within about 12 hours. No alcohol, you shouldn't be drinking alcohol obviously, but no alcohol within 24 hours. Hopefully there hasn't been any alcohol in the last 70 days. No metals on your body. Try to wear the clothing that you wore for your before pictures, because you're going to do your after pictures, of course. And you can eat beforehand, just don't eat right beforehand. Try to eat 3 or 4 hours or wait even longer if possible before your scan. Also use the washroom if you can. Okay, I'm getting near the end of your questions, so that's good. Although, the only reason I'm getting towards the end is because not very many of you are sending in your feedback, so you've got a chance to ask me questions, maybe make your life easier, maybe you've got some things on your mind that will help you, or that could help you, or excuse me, you've got some issues in the challenge and maybe I've got some solutions that can help you. Anyways, some feedback here. So this person writes, still struggling with my sweet tooth and my love for foods and ethnic dishes that are high in fat and calories. This week I have 2 external functions. My goal is to prepare in advance of what I intend to eat at these 2 functions. Okay, well, in this case, if it's not a formal dinner, like if you're not, if it's like a buffet style, or it's, it's not really a formal setting, I would just stick with like basic lame stuff like water, salad, that type of thing. There may be some good choices in there. Maybe there's some lean meats, etc. So in general, just do your best with this. But when it comes to meals like this, or meals that you want to eat that are, quote, high in calories or high in fat, or what you might consider to be a cheat meal, it's totally fine for you to have one of these weekly. Of course, not during the challenge. I don't recommend any of that during the challenge, but outside the challenge, and hopefully after this, you're going to be monitoring your food. Maybe you'll be monitoring your macros. Hopefully you will. I know a lot of you don't want to be as stringent, but hopefully you'll have a good idea of amounts of food and even just the basics like protein every meal. Like that one thing alone will make a huge difference. Making sure that you get a good amount of a protein strong food every time you eat. That will make a huge difference. So hopefully you'll take some of these things away from the challenge. And as I mentioned, when it comes to stuff like this, especially when you want to have these meals that are going to be higher in calories, set aside 1 meal per week, be reasonable, and just enjoy yourself. Another question. A friend told me that it is difficult for bodies to lose fat and gain muscle concurrently during dieting, exercise, and that individuals should not set both these goals at the same time. Is there any truth to your statement? Well, there's always context to everything. So I will say that in general, this person's statement is correct. However, if, for example, you enter this challenge and you have no background in weight training and you start weight training, and of course you're in a deficit, you will put on some muscle for sure. Because you are new, you are fresh, the body has to adapt, and it will adapt initially. This will not last long. This might last 2 months, maybe 3 months, but eventually you would do much better in terms of putting on muscle if you have sufficient calories, if you have a little bit of a surplus. Ideally, when you want to put on muscle mass, you want to be in a calorie surplus. The surplus doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be extremely high. Just be a little bit over maintenance so that you get minimal body fat accumulation. But yes, in general, this would be true. Now, what's another example where this may not apply? If you were to change somebody's physiology, so if you were to use, say, performance-enhancing drugs, in this case, you could definitely be in a deficit and put on muscle, absolutely. But you're changing the chemical environment of the human body, so obviously nobody's doing that, nobody's interested in doing that, and I would never advise that. But I'm just giving you some context here, because context always matters. So in general, yes, this is the case, but like I said, if you're new to this, you're going to gain some muscle. I'll give you another example here. My mom, I've talked about my mom before, and I may have mentioned this in a video. She's not doing anything. She hasn't touched weights for God knows how many years. And my mom was in her early 70s. She would probably gain some muscle even just doing some yoga, because she's not doing anything. So if she just, held some poses, some yoga poses or whatever, she's probably going to stimulate some level of muscle damage, and then through recuperation, she's going to gain some muscle. She's going to gain some strength from that, because she doesn't do anything at all. But certainly that wouldn't last for very long. So again, it's all within the context of a person's background, where they're coming from, etc. What are the other things that we're maybe adding into the mix? In general, this is a true statement. Okay, let's get to the message of the day. On this day 62, we got 8 days to go, and I want to just remind you that it's never too late to become what you might have been. It's never too late to become what you might have been. And maybe you didn't do as well in this challenge as you'd hoped. That being said, let's take advantage of these last 8 days. But maybe you didn't, maybe you had higher expectations. I want to remind you that nothing is futile. Your effort is not futile. This is all part of the process. It's always a gradient. It's never on or off. It's never 0 or 100. It's always somewhere in between, okay? Or usually it's somewhere in between. And so, a perfect example of this is when you're doing a movement in the gym, and you're not necessarily doing it perfectly, but things take time, and even if you're getting 40% out of the movement, you're still getting 40%. And that 40% is part of you building up to getting to that 100%. So we want to think of everything as a process, and we want to think about always being able to improve. We also want to think about, we want to reinforce that self-belief, that belief in ourselves, that notion that we can always improve, that there's more that we can do to progress, regardless of your age. So I'll say it again, it's never too late to become what you might have been. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude. We have got 8 days to go. Let's take advantage each and every day. It all adds up. Another brick to the wall, or maybe another brick off the wall. You know what I'm saying. Talk to y'all soon. See you guys.